When you finish watching this video, you'll understand why the money in your bank is melting away, and why there's nothing you can do to stop it. Stop. Look at the screen. Right now, the phone in your hand, the car in your driveway, the card in your wallet, all of them are losing value because of a decision someone made. And that decision was already made without your knowledge. $37.2 trillion. That number doesn't mean anything to you, does it? Because the human brain can't grasp trillions. So think of it this way. If a baby born today started paying $1,000 every second, it would take more than 1 million years to pay off that debt. But that's not the real shock. The real shock is this. This year, for the first time, the interest on that debt surpassed all of the U.S.'s defense spending. No Army, no Navy, no Air Force. Set them all aside. America now pays more to bondholders than it pays its soldiers. And the government knows this, but they're not telling you. Because they know what happens when they do. Everyone panics, and panic always puts the government in a difficult position, I'm telling you. Everyone is asking the wrong question. They ask, what is the total debt? That's the wrong question. The right question is, what needs to be paid this year? The U.S. Treasury has to sell $11 trillion worth of bonds in the next 12 months, $9 trillion in old debt, plus $2 trillion in new deficit. But here's the trap. That old debt was taken on at near zero interest rates. Now it has to be rolled over at 4 to 5% interest. Let me give you an everyday example. You maxed out your credit card at 1% interest. You wake up one morning, the bank calls. The interest rate is now 20%. There's nothing you can do. You just pay. The U.S. government is caught in exactly this trap, only this is happening in the world's largest economy. But unlike you, the state has no second credit card to escape to. And the thought you're having right now, okay, but let them pay at higher rates. That thought is the death spiral itself. Every 1-point rise in interest means $370 billion in additional costs. Every year, automatically. That figure is nearly equal to the entire U.S. education budget. And it can't be covered by taxes. It can't be covered by cutting spending. It is mathematically impossible. So how will the government pay this debt? For 40 years, the world bought U.S. bonds without question. China bought them. Japan bought them. Oil states bought them. This system was the lifeblood of the global economy. That system is dead now. China and Japan are now sellers. And if the U.S. can't find enough buyers for its own debt, only one option remains: raise interest rates. But if interest rates rise, the already unpayable debt grows even larger. This is exactly the moment when systems collapse, not gradually, but overnight. In the bond market, this is called a vigilante movement. Bond vigilantes. Who are they? The world's largest institutional investors, pension funds, insurance companies, sovereign wealth funds. They're no longer blindly trusting. They see the $37 trillion debt and say, if we're going to lend money to this risk, we want more return. And then bond auctions begin to fail because there are no buyers. The government offers 4%. Nobody buys. It offers 4.25%. Still nobody buys. 5%, 6%, 7%. But remember, every 1 point means $370 billion more in debt. This isn't a death spiral. This is the death spiral in its completed form. 1 second. Subscribe and like for more. Let's continue. They told you a great story. The great saviors of Silicon Valley are coming. They'll clean up Washington. $2 trillion will be saved. Sounds perfect, doesn't it? It'll be run like a business, efficiency, effectiveness, a clean budget. But here's the hidden truth. The U.S. government spends approximately $7 trillion a year. The vast majority of this money is legally locked in. Retirement payments, Medicare, defense, interest payments. What do you have to do to save $2 trillion? Either you cut elderly people's retirement checks, or you cut the military in half, or you do both. What politician can do that? None. Because that politician will never be elected again. Doge was not a solution. It was a marketing campaign. And the 2025 data came in. The deficit is worse compared to the same period last year. The system didn't slow down. On the contrary, it accelerated. But the real danger is here. What would have happened if they had actually cut $2 trillion? Remember the GDP formula. GDP equals consumption plus investment plus government spending. If $2 trillion in spending had been cut, $2 trillion in GDP would have instantly evaporated. This is not a correction. This is the Great Depression. The economy shrinks. Tax revenues fall. The debt/GDP ratio gets even worse. What was thought to be the medicine would actually be what kills the patient. When you lose the math game, you change the rules. This is history's oldest trick. Washington put 2 moves into play without anyone noticing. Most people didn't even hear about them. First move, the Genius Act. Politicians are suddenly talking about crypto freedom, strategic reserve, blockchain, Bitcoin. Don't be naive. This isn't about freedom. This is about liquidity. What does the Genius Act do? It requires that every newly issued stablecoin be backed by U.S. Treasury bills. Let's put this into a formula. As the crypto market grows, demand for stablecoins increases. As stablecoin demand increases, more Treasury bills must be purchased. If the crypto market reaches $10 trillion, that means $2 to $3 trillion in mandatory bond buyers. In short, they've turned crypto investors into a machine that unknowingly finances government debt. Second move, gold revaluation. The U.S. Treasury holds 261 million ounces of gold. The official book value $42 per ounce. This price is a ghost figure left over from the 1970s. The real market price above $3,400. And the president, without needing Congress with a single signature, can revalue this gold to market price. All these moves have a single outcome. Your savings are turned into the system's shock-absorbing cushion. What would have happened if he had done this? The Treasury's books would instantly become $4 trillion richer. From nothing, on paper, and with a single signature. This is not a conspiracy theory. Roosevelt did it in 1933. Nixon did it in 1971. If they can't change the value of money, they change money itself. But this is not a fundamental solution. This is buying time. Now pay close attention, because this is the part that other financial analysts aren't saying. The stock market will rise. Maybe Bitcoin will explode. Television will say the economy is strengthening. And you'll look at those numbers in that account and feel good. You're making a mistake. You think that rising prices are making you rich. This is the inflation tax. Look, you have 100,000 lira in your account. 10 years ago, you could buy a car with that money. Now that same car costs 500,000 lira. The number is the same. But the world you can afford has shrunk. What does the government do when it can't pay its debts? It prints money. What happens when it prints money? The value of every single lira, every single dollar falls. This isn't a tax. If it were a tax, you'd at least be aware of it. This is an invisible hand. It reaches into your pocket while you sleep. And wealth doesn't disappear. It changes hands. From those who hold cash to those who hold assets. From the middle class to the government and large asset holders. The system is working exactly as it was designed, but it wasn't designed to protect you. Check out my other videos to learn how to protect yourself from this system before it's too late, before the Great Collapse. In history, no empire collapsed solely because of war. Rome, the Ottomans, the British Empire. Each of their ends began first with the hollowing out of their currency. Rome gradually mixed increasing amounts of bronze into gold coins. People didn't notice. The coin appeared to be gold, but purchasing power eroded for years and prepared the collapse. The British pound was once accepted as the world's reserve currency. Then England became unable to pay its debts, and the pound's throne was toppled. Now the dollar sits on that throne. But its throne has been toppled too. And in 2025, we see that America is applying the digital version of what Rome did to debase its coins. It's not the currency itself being counterfeited, but the guarantee behind the currency. This won't end. This is already over. The question isn't how it ends, but how much damage it ends with for you. I'm not going to tell you what to do. I'm not a financial advisor. But before every great devaluation in history, I can tell you this. Before the storm came, people felt exactly what you're feeling right now. This won't affect us. And every time it did, very heavily. I have a question for you. What are you holding right now? Something whose value is determined by central bank decisions, or something that has held its value for thousands of years. This decision is yours, but the window is closing. If you want to share this information with a loved one, I ask that you press the share button below this video, because this kind of information doesn't appear in mainstream media. And if you want to dive deeper into the Genius Act and gold revaluation, write in the comments. I can prepare a dedicated video on that topic. Finally, history shows us this. Those who wait for certainty always pay the heaviest price. See you soon.